Good morning, Year 12 Global Politics. Today we will be looking at the aims, the role, and the power of the International Criminal Court. In terms of the skills, linked to this area of study, we need to be able to explain the aims and the roles of the ICC. We need to be able to evaluate the power of the ICC and assess the extent to which the ICC are able to achieve their aims. And finally, evaluate the extent to which the ICC are able to challenge the sovereignty of states. So those are our key skills and the key knowledge of this area of study. So that's really what I'm going to focus on today when I talk to you guys about what the ICC does. So the first aim of the International Criminal Court that we need to be able to explain is their main aim is to ensure that the worst perpetrators are held accountable for their crimes. In terms of how we've seen this happen, they've had 10 successful convictions, and they have, the most notable, the first one that they were successful with was Thomas Lubanga from the Democratic Republic of Congo, who was sentenced to 14 years for crimes against humanity. So to ensure the worst perpetrators are held accountable for their crimes, well, we've seen it 10 times, and with the case of Thomas Lubanga. The second aim is to serve as the court of the last resort. So they really, states should do their best to try and prosecute these crimes themselves. However, if they're not able to do this, they will go to the ICC, and the ICC will investigate, prosecute, and punish the perpetrators of genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes of aggression, which was added more recently. These 4 crimes really are outlined in the Rome Statute, which gives the ICC jurisdiction over these areas. We will get into, the Rome Statute and how it is significant, but, really here, they are the court of the last resort, responsible for dealing with these 4 very serious crimes. They will also assist national judiciaries in investigating and prosecuting the worst perpetrators. Sometimes they won't end up in the ICC, so they will assist the country to do this. However, I'm not 100% sure if we've seen any examples of this happen. So this really isn't my favourite aim to discuss. I think these 2 are really quite strong to discuss, and discuss how they've been achieved and how they haven't been achieved. Then their final aim really is to promote international peace and security by deterring future would-be perpetrators. Again, it's hard to say whether or not they've actually been successful here, but I think those first 2 are very strong to look at if you were discussing the extent to which the ICC have been successful in achieving these aims. In terms of the roles of the ICC, their role is to enforce the Rome Statute. So, there are currently 123 states that have signed it. The notable absences are the US, Russia, and China, who are permanent 5 members of the Security Council, but have not also signed it. Also, I've mentioned Israel because it is an example that I will get into later, but I think it's significant that, 3 of the 5 permanent 5 members have not signed it, because really it can undermine the legitimacy of the International Criminal Court. But the Rome Statute, that's a significant. It's significant because it is really outlining the rules and the norms of the ICC. And in that treaty, when states have actually signed it, the 123 that have signed it, they are giving the ICC the power to investigate and prosecute crimes against humanity, genocide, war crimes, and crimes of aggression. So what that means is that citizens of their country that commit those crimes can be taken to the ICC, or anyone in their territory who commits those crimes can be taken to the ICC. However, as the ICC do not have their own international police force, they do rely on states helping and handing over suspects, and those suspects then will be taken to the Hague to await a trial. But the Rome Statute really does have the rules and the norms of the ICC there. In terms of the roles, another role of the ICC, it is to conduct trials in The Hague. Trials are related to those 4 crimes that I have mentioned a few times now. The accused in the trial is innocent until proven guilty, and they have the chance to be defended. Well, they do have the opportunity to have a lawyer and to defend themselves, to prevent witnesses. So that's how the trial is conducted. And prosecute perpetrators of these serious crimes. After considering the evidence that's presented from both sides, then judges will decide whether or not the defendant is guilty, and if found guilty, judges may impose a prison sentence. So those are the 3 roles of the ICC. In terms of the power of the ICC, their power really stems from how they've actually carried out how they've been able to actually carry out their aims, of prosecuting and investigating these crimes. And the fact that they've had 10 successful convictions, I think shows that they have had some power in actually carrying out their goals and, actually holding people accountable. So 10 successful convictions. We've talked about the example of Thomas Lubanga. Also, they have issued 35 arrest warrants for people that have committed one of those 4 crimes. So they are actively pursuing those people. We've also got our example there of Thomas. And also the fact that they have been able to have states cooperate with them. 17 people are currently detained in the ICC. There has been some power there to actually carry out what they've set out to do, their goals of holding these people accountable. Also, I didn't mention this, but the 123 countries that have signed the Rome Statute, I believe that that's quite a large number that all believe that this is an important treaty to sign on to, and that kind of there does give the ICC some legitimacy. However, there has been some criticism that most of the prosecutions are against soft targets, African perpetrators. So, that has also got some criticism there. However, their power is limited because the Rome Statute isn't signed by every single state in the world. 123 have signed, but major and important states haven't. The US, China, and Russia, 3 of the permanent 5 have not signed it, which I do believe can undermine the legitimacy of the ICC and shows that they don't accept the jurisdiction of the ICC. Also, states need to be willing to hand over criminals, and this hasn't happened. We have our example here in South Africa. Omar al-Bashir visited in 2015, even though there was a warrant out for his arrest from 2009. So, there they did have the opportunity to comply and to help the ICC, hold people accountable, but they chose not to. So that does really undermine the power of the ICC when states don't comply. And finally, some states need to sign the Rome Statute. We're not allowing non-state actors to sign. So groups such as ISIS have been able to be, charged or prosecuted in the ICC. In terms of challenging the sovereignty of states, the ICC has had a limited ability here, mainly because they can only impact the sovereignty of states of those who have signed the Rome Statute. So states that haven't signed means that the Rome Statute does not apply, and those people will not face trials in the ICC. So that is quite a significant limitation of the power of the ICC, and also a limitation in their ability to challenge the sovereignty of states. They also have no power or police power or army to find perpetrators. They have to rely on states to hand over the accused. That does limit their ability to challenge the sovereignty, the political sovereignty of a state. However, the ICC have tried to challenge states, and this was seen in the US and Israel in two different scenarios. So we'll talk about Israel first. So in 2014, the ICC tried to investigate war crimes in Gaza. What's controversial about this example is that Israel haven't signed the Rome Statute, but Palestine did, which is where the crimes occurred, but Palestine is not considered a state. So, I don't think really anything went any further from that. And significantly in 2014, the ICC tried to investigate the CIA's role in the war in Afghanistan in 2014. The Afghanistan have signed the Rome Statute, the US haven't, so they did here try to challenge, what the US did there and try to challenge the sovereignty of the US. However, the US did retaliate and did show us that the state is the central actor and the state does have sovereignty. The Trump passed an executive order that sanctioned the lead prosecutor of the ICC, froze her assets, and did not allow her to enter the USA. So that really there does show that the state is the central actor here. So there you go. Those are the aims, the roles, and the power of the ICC. And we have also now discussed how they have challenged the sovereignty of states. I hope that was helpful and informative, and hopefully you will tune into my other videos. Thank you.